Chapter 6 is our chapter dedicated to the continual service improvement phase of the service lifecycle. This relatively short chapter contains 5 lessons. In Lesson 1, we'll get an overview of the CSI book, including its goals and objectives. Lesson 2 describes the 3 approaches to measuring and improving services and processes: the Deming cycle, the CSI model, and the 7-step improvement process. Lesson 3 discusses measurements and metrics, and Lesson 4 describes the lifecycle interfaces and roles of CSI. And as always, we'll end our chapter with some sample questions based on this lifecycle phase. Lesson 1 is our Continual Service Improvement Phase overview. Here on the left-hand side of our screen is our trusty service lifecycle ball. To recap our story, we had a group of lawyers who just graduated law school, and they decided while sitting in a diner to start up their own law firm. The lawyers wrote down some of their needs and business requirements on the back of a diner placemat. This list of requirements was written in business person speak, not techie speak. And the list said, we need computers for our 25 employees. And we'll also need the ability to print, we'll need email, and we'll need internet access. It can't cost more than $75,000. This list of requirements is the key output of the service strategy phase. So in this phase, the service design phase, IT took their time in coming up with a design, and just a design, to solve the challenge that the business gave us here at the end of the service strategy phase. IT designed the 5 aspects of service design, whose keywords spell STAMP. The service design phase also paid very close attention to the 4 P's of service design: people, processes, products, and partners. Service design was a very, very labor-intensive phase of the life cycle, but IT knew that they had to take their time to get it right. The Service Design Manager compiled a giant design document that contained all of this service design stuff, called the SDP, or the Service Design Package, and passed that off to the Service Transition phase. In this Service Transition phase, IT took that Service Design Package and built, purchased, tested, configured, tracked, controlled, and tested some more, and finally installed the new, or just newly changed aspect of the IT services and components. Once we flip the switch, we're now officially in the service operation phase now that the new service, or changes to that existing service, is up and running. In the service operation phase, IT supports and measures the services now that they're in use. After the service operation phase, we go back to service strategy. We don't go to CSI because CSI is not the last phase of the life cycle, it's the all-encompassing phase of the life cycle. So it doesn't happen last, it happens always. So it is the momentum of CSI, that's the momentum that keeps this service life cycle ball rolling. So now you have a sense of where we've been, where we are, and then how we actually move on to the next phase of the life cycle. To our right, you can see the cover of the Continual Service Improvement book. This lesson contains 2 main objectives. First, we'll understand the purpose and the main objectives of the CSI phase, and then we'll learn the activities usually performed here. The main purpose of the CSI phase is to align and realign the services that IT provides to the changing needs of the business. Now this may sound counterintuitive at first, but stick with me. We actually want the business needs to change. Yes, that will ultimately mean more work for us in IT, but think about it. When the business needs change, it's probably because the business is changing their strategy. They're being agile in the marketplace by finding new opportunities and coming up with new offerings to their external customers. This translates to a more profitable business, hopefully. So we want the business needs to change so the business stays alive, stays competitive, and remains not optional. When Amazon.com first opened its online doors, it only sold books. But now you can buy darn well anything from Amazon. The business needs changed, and then IT had to react to be able to interface and interact with so many other vendors, suppliers, credit card companies, PayPal, you name it. Think of our service lifecycle ball. CSI is the momentum that makes the lifecycle ball roll. When we're working along in service operation, the business needs change. And through the CSI momentum, we go back to service strategy to strategize about what needs to change, and then we move to service design to design the change, and then we build, test, and implement the change in service transition to then use it in service operation. Until, that is, the business needs change again, and then the ball rolls one more time through the guidance and momentum of CSI. CSI looks for ways to improve processes' progress, effectiveness, efficiency, and cost, and those 4 items can be abbreviated as PEAK. It's up to the process owner of each process to improve these 4 things for the process that they own, and they do it under the guidance and direction of CSI. You'll need to know this list. The main objectives of CSI are to review and analyze SLA results, which we pulled from Service Operation, and then choose and employ quality management methods, and we'll show you 3 of these once we get to Lesson 2. Also, we make recommendations for improvements in this phase, and we identify and implement activities to improve IT services and processes. Lastly, we improve cost effectiveness without sacrificing customer satisfaction whenever possible. The main activities we undertake here in CSI are: first, we review management information. Well, what kind of management information? Any information that can be used to manage something, whether that's managing a process, managing a device, or managing a service. From these reports, we'll analyze trends and try to find opportunities for improvement. This phase will also help produce and analyze SLA reports. During this phase, we'll also conduct maturity assessments and internal audits, and we'll make ad hoc recommendations as needed and conduct customer satisfaction surveys. CSI can also help conduct internal and external service reviews to identify opportunities for improvement. In a nutshell, CSI looks over your shoulder and gets all up in your business, trying to find ways to make things better. Let's move on to Lesson 2, where we'll learn 3 approaches or methods for improvement.